I was saying this is my second State of the City address, and I've already got the attendance about tripled from last year. I did the one at the council meeting last year, so I am going to give a truncated version of this for our council next week. But I would start by thanking again the Chamber of Commerce, Montana Tech, and Butte Local Development Corporation for hosting this today. So again, let's have a round of applause for those. I know we have a lot of their board members in attendance, and I think this event is a good new way. We'll try and see how it goes today, but keep it going like this in the future, where we work together and bring folks together to talk about what's going on in our community and how we can all task together in making this city and this community a better place in the future. I'd also like to thank our police and fire who make our community a safe and great place on a daily basis. I see our fire chief here, Jeff Miller, his men have really been going above and beyond lately, and it's not that they don't do it every day, but I think they've been in the paper pretty frequently over the last month or so. We can't thank you enough for that, Jeff. I'd like to also thank, since there's many of them represented here today, our small businesses and our corporate partners for their continued commitment to serving and investing in our community and to helping our economies grow. So thanks to our business owners and our corporate partners here at Butte-Silver. And I would also like to recognize, I know that there's some of our other elected officials here in attendance today, our first and foremost Council of Commissioners who we get to work with on a weekly basis up on the third floor, as well as I see our Superintendent of County Schools here. And if you're another elected official, please raise your hand and let's have an applause for those folks. And always, but perhaps more importantly this week, in the wake of the recent failed legislation to assist our brave men and women who have always taken care of us, the U.S. of A., thank you to our veterans. Our local legislators, let's recognize them in the room, starting with Representative Ryan Lynch, who sponsored the original bill for our Southwest Montana Veterans Home, to Senator Sesso, Senator Keene, who is not here today, Representative Noonan, Representative McClafferty, and not to mention our Southwest Montana friends, Representative Shaw and Representative Wellborn. Is she still here with us today? I saw him outside. You guys tried to get it done, but in the end, there was a small number of extreme ideologues who were able to prevent the passing of a wholesale infrastructure bill that would have built our veterans the home that they were promised. Rest assured that we locals are continuing to work every possible angle at the federal and state levels to find a way to make the veterans home a reality. And now, last but not least, I do want to draw attention and thank the over 500 dedicated Butte-Silver department heads and employees who I get the privilege of leading every day. So please stand if you're a Butte-Silver employee, because I don't think you guys get enough recognition. It was an exciting day for me just over a year ago when I gave my first State of the City County address. dedicated to a belief in culture that we can always do better and that good enough isn't good enough, I see a Butte that continues to be great. That is our City of Champions spirit. This is in large part due to the commitment of our public employees who we just recognized. So again, I want to thank you. And we're going to be talking a lot about the things that we're doing both in Butte-Silver and in partnership with the many different entities that we have in this great community of ours, many of which are represented in here today, starting with the folks that were gracious enough to sponsor this luncheon. So I continue to be thankful, encouraged, and confident that we can achieve anything we set out to accomplish together. I'll be telling you all about our latest progress, plans, and priorities soon enough, but first I think it's important to take stock of two things. One is the significance of where we are physically right now. Here we are on the campus of Montana Tech, our School of Mines, for which our city's Big M beacons. Butte just celebrated its 150-year anniversary since the first strike of gold on Silverboat Creek. That's a lot of history, and as such, Montana Tech and its campus is full of history as well. But more important, it's the innovation and change that Tech excels in that continues to make being an Ore Digger graduate a world-recognized distinction. That same knack for innovation and change has also defined Butte's ability to survive and will be what allows her to thrive again. So I think that's very important here today. The second is a significance of a concept, and that concept is a return on investment. We just came from the groundbreaking of Tech's new Natural Resource Research Center, a $10 million investment in the future excellence of this school, and by extension, the future of this community. Half of this money came from a wise investment on behalf of our state government. And again, I would acknowledge our local legislators who made that happen in the 2013 legislature. The other half came from Montana Tech raising $5 million in matching private funds. Montana Tech employers and alumni investing in themselves. It takes guts to invest, and what better way to show confidence to investors, both public and private alike, than to invest in ourselves. If we aren't willing to invest in ourselves, then we can't expect anyone else to do it, and with no investment, we shouldn't expect much of a return. So thanks to the investment and confidence of our partners in Butte and all across Montana, our city, our community is poised to enjoy great returns. As two of our recently successful local entrepreneurs, the McKees at Headframe Spirits call it, it's a return on community. What a beautiful and seemingly contagious concept to invest in the community you serve and that serves you as a way to greater fulfill and guarantee your return as an investor, as a business owner, as a local government, as a citizen. The more we are willing to invest our money, invest our time, invest our sweat equity, the more we will receive in a return on our community, which is an increase in our pride and quality of life for our residents. We couldn't have scripted it better here today, talking about change and innovation in Butte on the campus at Montana Tech and our return on investment and community in the Bob and Pauline Poor Room of this great building here. Bob and Pauline, it appears as if you started something very big, and I would ask for a round of applause for the Poors. Let's consider the following ongoing and upcoming investments that come in addition to the Natural Resource Research Center that we just broke ground on outside in our community that are going to pay off big in our future. And on the private side, it all started a little over a year ago with the announcement and groundbreaking of Northwestern Energy's $25 million general office building at the corner of Park and Main, and I see Paul in here. Is there anyone else from Northwestern Energy? I think we should thank Northwestern Energy. Again, that is an investment in ourselves, and if we invest in ourselves, that gives others the confidence to do the same thing. And so the other things that we have seen come that started as a result of that investment in the heart of our uptown is St. James Healthcare's new cancer treatment facility, $3.8 million expansion at Acadia. We have a $3 million improvement to the Fairmont Hot Springs Convention Center out south of town, announcements of a new multi-million-dollar addition to another one of our great corporate partners, Town Pump Incorporated, a number of urban housing developments, and the opening and announcements of a number of new businesses in town, like Bioscience Laboratories, Muddy Creek, Butte Brewery, the Pita Pit, Hardee's, Buffalo Wild Wings, now a potential Fairfield Inn, and today I'm pleased to announce officially for the first time that we will be adding a Pizza Ranch franchise on Harrison Avenue at the site of the former Skookum Hotel. In their press release, Pizza Ranch, if you haven't heard of them, you'll hear of them soon. They are a, quote, legendary pizza, roasted chicken and salad buffet beloved across the Midwest and Central Plains. Butte will be its second franchise location in Montana and will be added to over 150 existing locations across, again, the Midwest and Central Plains. And talk about an aesthetic upgrade to the middle of one of our prime downtown corridors. This is an outstanding indication that Butte is on the move, yet following the theme that we set last year, we're eager to continue this improvement. I know there's big things to come. We're just announcing what we can today. And we are the mining city, so let's not forget about the miners. Aside from keeping production steady and safe, Montana Resources invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in its operations in the past 18 months to improve management of its tailings impoundment and contributed $138,000 to our health department to implement a wood stove change-out program to address the community's air quality needs. Is there anyone from Montana Resources in the audience today? Well, when you see them, thank them, because that's step one. In conjunction with Montana Resources, the Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation also earlier this spring contributed $1 million, the largest contribution to date in Butte by the foundation, which also encouraged an additional gift, thanks once again to Northwestern Energy, of $50,000 so that we could construct a first-class American Legion baseball field and improvements at Copper Mountain Sports Complex for our youth and our community. Thank you very much. These investments from the private side were partially a result of our local government's confidence in investing in itself with matching funds and labor for both of those last projects I mentioned. Switching over to the public side, Butte-Silver is well underway on the construction of its $30.7 million wastewater treatment plant upgrades on Centennial, and will break ground later this spring on the last portions of a $30 million state-of-the-art water treatment facility at Basin Creek. Swank Construction is the private general contractor on both of these major projects, not to mention a number of local subcontractors who will be put to work. And also to come is the construction of new improvements along Silver Bow Creek near Silver Bow with our Greenway Trail, a great quality of life improvement to all citizens in Butte, Silver Bow County, and the Upper Clark Fork Basin. We will be undertaking a major sewer line extension that will continue to serve the future expansion here at Montana Tech with all of the great things that Chancellor Blackketter and his administration has planned for our city and our campus here. And of course, let's not forget about the parking structure that will be moving ahead in Uptown Butte, moving ahead here. It's also worth noting, I believe, that our Parks and Recreation Department is reconvened with the community in a pool discussion that may also include a home for our carousel. Both projects that could be decided in the coming year. So how's that for investment? Also, at the time of my first State of the City County address last year, I challenged us to not only strive for continued improvement, but in working together with more focus and cooperation, because together, everyone achieves more. Between last April and today, we have achieved a lot in improving local government, in improving our environment and our sustainability, in improving our university and our Butte schools, both public and private, in improving our private sector economy, and in improving our distinct celebrations of our unique place through festivals and awards. Let's take a look at a few of those. On the economic development front, last year I put together an ad hoc committee of our Council of Commissioners to review the ways in which our local government and community invested and engaged in economic development. There was a short list of sensible actions to improve that came out of that, all of which are well underway of being implemented, led first and foremost by the Butte Local Development Corporation and our new Butte Economic Development Coordinating Council. So let's have a hand for BLDC, Chamber of Commerce, the CVB. Is there anyone from Headwaters here today? No one from Headwaters, they're part of this as well. MSC, Murdy as well. This new Economic Development Coordinating Council, I think, is starting to achieve some big things, namely a cooperative focus on how Butte can better market itself now, and it's also resulted in a new standing committee of our Council of Commissioners that also focuses on economic development on a regular basis. So thanks to all those parties for helping work better together. Also, after being successful in a Phase 1 award, we teamed up with those same partners, including Montana Tech, and took an enormous effort and undertaking to submit a competitive proposal under the federal government's Investing in Manufacturing Communities Partnership Phase 2 that would have established Butte as a hub for natural resource-based manufacturing for the entire state of Montana. We were ultimately unsuccessful in the bid, but the lessons learned and the connections made continue to pay off to this day, as MSC Murdy now has 7 manufacturing-based companies that are growing within the Phase 1 incubator, and they were just awarded an I-6 challenge, which is a very competitive EDA process that gives them $150,000 that we are matching to further expand the manufacturing capabilities at the Mike Mansfield Advanced Technology Center out south of town. And so you don't always hit the home run, but you make contact, and we continue to leg out those singles, which will get us home in the end as well. So I think those are big things as well. We were also lucky enough to team up with Headwaters, RC&D, and the Blackstone Foundation to host the first Startup Butte weekend here, where there were more than 50 entrepreneurs from around Montana that were led by Startup Weekend founder and Up Global CEO Mark Nogger at the Thornton Building back in March. And that, if anybody raised their hand if you were at that event. Colin, you were there? You were there? It was great. And again, it was the first one. I think, Jim, yeah, you were there. Just a great gathering, and really kind of shows what sort of talent we have in our young entrepreneurs, and really those are the folks that are going to drive our economy as we move forward. And so those are good new things that are going on. And lastly, in economic development, if you recall, in 2013, we engaged in an economic gardening program, another example of investing in ourselves by focusing on our own homegrown companies. We're eagerly awaiting the evaluation report from the 2013 and 14 companies, of which there were 6 that went through, but the initial feedback and results are very positive, and we are into our second round of companies taking part in the innovative new program. As for our work in the local government, we have done a lot. Another reflection of the commitment and time for kudos to our Butte-Silver employees. Well, I can't mention all of the things, and really this is just one little reflection of the difficulty of my job. I asked all of my department heads to submit a list of like 3 things that were their big accomplishments, as well as the 3 big things that they want to focus on this year. We'd have been here for a while if I had to go through all of those. There's a lot going on, and I really think that it just puts a higher premium on our ability as a local government to communicate those accomplishments to the folks that we serve, our citizens and our businesses. And it's always our goal to improve. I would stand committed today, tomorrow, and into the future that we are going to continue to improve our transparency, and we are more accessible now and in the last couple of years than Butte-Silver has ever been. We have a 21st century website, we have social media sites on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Our finance and budget department posts our weekly expenditure reports on the website every week and has adopted a performance budget, which has resulted in a Government Finance Officer Association Award for distinguished presentation of our finances. We have established a public and online communications administrator position within Butte-Silver, and we're nearing the end of a comprehensive assessment led by a citizen committee of what investments we need to update our information technology to efficiently meet the needs of our employees and the citizens in the 21st century. Most of these are firsts within Butte-Silver. And so we're very proud of the improvements that we've already made in transparency and access to our local government, and are just as excited at the additional ones that you'll see being rolled out over the next year, 2 years, and so on and so forth. Moving into some of our other departments, in Public Works, after being behind our other communities, or at the very least behind in perception for years, Butte-Silver Public Works Department is now a department that other Class 1 cities in Montana are looking to for advice and models. Water, sewer, and landfill improvements are all taking on innovative new approaches, while the one age-old ubiquitous complaint to all public works departments is receiving new technology and attention: potholes. Before my administration took over in 2012, Butte-Silver put down 4,000 tons of asphalt. In my first year in 2013, we doubled that to 8,000 tons. Last year, we surpassed it again, laying down over 10,000. And this year's goal, with the new DuraPatch all-season pothole fixing machine, is to put down 13,000 tons of asphalt. And so, Dave Schultz, however, one thing is for certain: no matter how much we put down, no matter how many potholes we fill, we will never be able to afford the time and money to put down enough to make it a lower priority. So every year I'm lucky enough to give this address, we'll be talking about potholes and roads. As they say, it's always about dogs and potholes, correct? And since I brought it up, let's talk about our animal control department. This year, there's been great leaps and bounds made over the course of establishing a new regime in animal services. And just this last year, I think we took another step forward at being named the best shelter in Montana by the Animal Rescue Site Shelter Society. And our manager down there, Jackie Casagranda, working under Ed Randall, was awarded another Humane Society scholarship to attend a National Expo. So let's have a round of applause for them. And since they got that licked, now they're gonna reopen the can of worms that is allowing dogs on leashes into our parks, and so they'll be working with our Parks and Recreation Department to bring that back out to our citizenry so that you can take your dog for a walk on a leash on the trails in our parks and along all of our great greenways and areas in town. So working together, I know they'll get it done. I've already mentioned some of the achievements of our Finance and Budget Department, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention the turnaround we've seen there every chance I get. In addition to the performance budget and the new GFOA award, Butte-Silver met all SEC requirements for bond reporting and submitted its comprehensive annual financial report. You'll hear it referred to as the CAFR, and our audit was timely submitted by the deadline for the first time in 7 years this last year. In addition, we also passed an investment policy for Butte-Silver and implemented a reserve recommendation level into our budget resolutions, and assisted Senator Sesso, who's now back as our planning director, as well as David Ewer with our Montana Board of Investments, to pass legislation that gives local governments a new opportunity to invest trust funds at a higher rate of return. All of this, what it means, is good news for our taxpayers and citizens, sound, transparent fiscal management. So thank you, Danette, and your staff. And after much patience and persistence, our Office of Emergency Management was able to open the doors on a new state-of-the-art emergency operations center that we're already using for the full benefit of our community to serve us in times of catastrophe when it's needed, but also in the calm. And so, Dan, I think you're doing a great job in your new capacity, and if you haven't been down to our new EOC and Butte Justice Center, just stay tuned. We're using it as much as we possibly can, and it's a great facility for our public. So thanks on that. Those are just some of the big ones. I could go on and on. The financial turnaround in our health department, the new level of coordination and efficiency among all of our departments in the realm of community enrichment, our community development and planning departments taking the lead on new parking management or vast improvements to our city's biking, walking, and transportation systems infrastructure, and even our first-class Butte Civic Center. As we continue to improve our venues and methods of sharing public information, I will look forward, as will all of our Butte-Silver department heads and employees, to sharing the public information and accomplishment and goals of all of our departments with our citizens. The last development that is definitely worth sharing with you today, and its place of order is certainly not to reflect its order of importance to our community, is my administration's commitment to improving our environment and Superfund management. In the coming year, our professional Superfund staff across a number of departments will take new approaches to working with each other, our commissioners, our state and federal agencies, and interfacing with my office and our newly formed Superfund Advisory and Redevelopment Trust Authority to tackle some of the biggest remaining environmental issues and challenges of our community, from cleaning up our Silverbow Creek corridor through town and establishing a criterion framework for the efficient and responsible spending of our redevelopment trust funds. One thing should be clear after what you've just heard from me now. Everyone is working together to improve this amazing community. So let's give all of ourselves a big hand in the way we're working together. It gives me greater pride in delivering my address today that we are gaining confidence, we are making investments and improvements, and we are seeing results, a return on community. Given the state of our history and the concept of return on investment I've shared today, I'm going to close with the following historic quote by a gentleman named Charles S. Warren, who was one of our first city county clerks and he shared the following words during a celebratory gathering on July 4th, 1876. To you of faint heart and who feel discouraged, who for years have worked patiently and hard without a murmur, we would say, be of good cheer, hold your grip, for day is dawning. Butte will come out, and with flying banners, here will be such a community in the near by and by as you do not dream of. The camp is now getting known throughout the world, and were it not for our isolation, a few weeks would see the capital of the world seeking investment here. All of these words ring true 140 years after they were first spoken, only we are no longer so isolated. Just in the past month, even the past week, we've taken the first steps in sharing our community's confidence in itself with the Chinese. Yesterday, we hosted the Consul General from Ireland, and this afternoon, we will engage with a delegation from Mongolia, wanting to learn our lessons in remediation and restoration. It's a fine time to also reflect upon the role immigration has played in Butte's history, because it's new immigration of our own youthful generations and of the youth abroad that we will need to grow stronger once again. Those days, we hope, may not be so distant. But until then, let's spread the word that we are a city of pride and investment in itself, and let's rejoice and share in enjoying our unique return on a community. Thank you.